Joining us now on the phone, our good friend from Fox News, Bret Baier, the anchor of Special Report on the Fox News channel, seen here each night at 6 p.m. Hello, Bret. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good to have you on. Look, I want to jump right into the Chris Christie thing. That was a huge political story. It has the making of a huge political scandal, but Chris Christie comes out, holds a 107-minute long press conference, something like that, and speaks and answers questions until there really probably are no more questions to ask. Did he do himself any good? Did he dig his way out of that hole?
Yeah, I mean, I think they timed 108 minutes. I think you're right that they were running out of questions. I mean, I was expecting to hear, where's the restroom at the end there. But, yeah, listen, he on both sides of the aisle, people said he did well. I mean, David Axelrod, senior advisor to the White House, said by that performance, if there isn't anything else that comes out, he lives to fight another day. And I think that analysis is actually right. I mean, if this investigation proves that Christie was not involved in some way, or it was not this culture that they thought that this is what he wanted, and that's a tough thing to pinpoint. But if there's not hard evidence and the investigation doesn't drop another shoe, a big one, Christie did himself well in the contrast of taking all of those questions and taking definitive action on day one to what we see perhaps in some of the ongoing investigations in Washington that has not really developed into much of anything.
The contract was remarkable. You could almost see Christie's people putting together an ad in the future highlighting his performance here, even though today it seems like a bad day for the governor.
We actually heard from listeners this morning who thought, well, I'm a big fan of Christie, but I really like that performance. They had a better opinion of him after it than they did before.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the performance itself, a lot of high grades, but I think the controversy itself is one that is really possibly hurtful to Christie, and one that could potentially be a big problem for him down the road. I mean, we don't know exactly what this is all going to lead to. The Port Authority guy, David Wilgenstein, who took the Fifth yesterday. All these documents are coming out. All these people who say this is just a traffic deal. Who cares? Well, see, it's more than that. It gets to the heart of government using government for political purposes.
Yes.
And it is almost that same feeling that you got in the IRS scandal of targeting people on politics. And when you talk about somebody in Iowa, that doesn't fly.
Yeah, and it plays into a weak point of Christie's personality, I think, which people perceive him as a bully, and I think that it plays into that. But Bret Baier, listen, I subscribe to Fox News First, of course, so I can get my daily Fox News political update, and you made an interesting point yesterday before the Christie press conference. Your little message here is headlined, Christie's traffic jam spares Hillary. Until this Chris Christie story, the big story in Washington was the Bob Gates book and the revelation that Hillary Clinton acknowledged that she only opposed the Iraq surge for political purposes. And tell me, will there be damage over that, or is she clear now to sort of skate and not answer to it since Chris Christie's dominated the news?
Well, I mean, clear this week, clear now, but I mean, Bob Gates starts his tour of TV shows next week. And, I mean, I assume that that's going to be high on the question list for people who do the interview. So I don't think she's in the clear in the long run. And I do think that quote coming from Bob Gates, of all people, who also has quotes respecting Hillary Clinton in that book, is pretty devastating when you talk about a decision like putting troops on the ground in Iraq solely being made on politics.
Well, we've been having a discussion since with all this stuff about the book came out here, and we're sort of on two minds of it, and I want to know where you come down. I mean, first of all, we sort of say, well, I'm glad I know this stuff, and I think it's interesting stuff, and I'm glad it's in the public domain now that we've had his take on it. Well, a lot of people really respect the guy. The other side of it is, yeah, but if you can't have a conversation that's confidential inside the Oval Office, then what should a president do? He can't get full and a fair discussion of the issues of the day out of fear that people are going to write a book about everything that's said inside the Oval Office.
No, I mean, I think that's a fair point, and I think that the criticism that what's coming out now is something that is legitimate and worth discussing, and I think something that Gates should be pressed on when he comes out. But what he talks about in there is, substantial. And when you're talking about Afghanistan policy, by the way, last night, it's deteriorating. It is essentially going by the wayside, much like Iraq did. The status of forces agreement with Hamid Karzai in Afghanistan looks like it's not going to be signed in time. And the president has not picked up the phone and called Karzai since July. So you have a situation where, it looks like the White House wants to position it where it's just going to kind of dissolve. And one of the things, this is suspicion, but it's possible that Gates wants to influence that in some way, shape, or form. And that's just a guess, but I think he's going to be asked a lot of things when he starts his interview train next week. One other thing on foreign policy. Watch today the Iran situation. There are now 59 co-sponsors of the Iran sanctions in the Senate.
Oh, wow.
And they believe they have 77 votes. That would be enough to overcome a presidential veto.
Wow.
That's big stuff, and the White House is really sweating that in Iran policy world.
Wow, that's a huge story, Bret. Thanks for sharing. We will watch it.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that. Bret Baier, the host of Special Report on the Fox News Channel. Always a pleasure to have you.
In its sixth strong season
you're starting
now.
your sixth year under the helm of Bret Baier. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
I know you got a good team over there.
Oh, a great team. It's awesome. Last night we were going through all this tape, and we did a thing at the end about the Bret.
Bret, I saw that. Yeah, it was great.
Bret.
And it's one vowel, but people, they love saying, Bret? Yeah, Bret. Yes, Bret. Thanks, Bret.
Thanks, Bret.
All right.
Talk to you